James Thomas.
BBC Wiltshire.
So the latest Brexit comings and goings, and there's a lot more goings I would imagine, are being watched closely by business leaders across our county. Business West represents more than 21,000 businesses in the southwest, including a network of chambers of commerce members in Bristol, Bath, South Gloucestershire, Wiltshire and Gloucestershire as well. Matt Griffiths is their Director of Policy and joins me this morning. Morning to you, Matt. What would you make of the Brexit divorce agreement that Theresa May's negotiated? What have you made of it?
I mean, it's not perfect, but it does represent for businesses some degree of stability and certainty. I mean, we've been waiting for some time to know what the likely outcome of these talks would be. Remember, we were promised it back in March, and it's going to be June, July, and it was going to be October. So it's actually really good to see something on the table. It's quite detailed, and it gives a lot of businesses a sense that there won't be a cliff edge in 4 months' time in which we crash out. There will be a transition period, and you will have the ability to try and adapt. So for a period, for 12 hours, we had some sense where we could say, look, this is happening. We can now reassure people that these steps are going to happen. But overnight, that seems to have flipped into even higher levels of uncertainty than we had before, which is meaning that businesses are not just frustrated, they're starting to get, frankly, exasperated by what's going on in Westminster.
You mentioned it wasn't perfect, this deal. What would represent perfect for you?
Well, we have to remember, it's not really talking about the full practical details of what our future trade relationship will be. What it's doing is it's called a withdrawal agreement, and it is that. It's setting out how the UK will leave. So what perfect means is having a detailed trade agreement, which means there isn't friction, which means we can sell into the European market, which means small businesses don't have to worry about losing out to European competitors because they face paperwork and tariffs. But we are where we are. My real concern, because I speak to a lot of businesses at the moment, we're trying to give them advice, is that in 4 months' time, we will crash out, we will automatically leave the EU. I'm talking to companies who will literally no longer be able to sell their product into the EU because it won't be recognised by regulation. So chemicals companies, medical products companies, pharmaceutical companies, aerospace companies. I'm talking to companies who are very likely to go out of business if they face tariffs into the European market. But I'm talking to lots of companies who are losing customers because they can't guarantee their future supply into Europe. So that is what we're up against.
But other companies from around the world trade into Europe and are not part of a customs union. So I don't understand the difference there. Can't you just use WTO rules and continue as other countries do?
Okay, so I'm talking to a medical products company in Wiltshire. Their product is recognised by European regulation, and it is certified as such by a UK body. If we have a hard Brexit without a deal, that UK body will no longer be recognised by the European Union as certifying their product. So that Wiltshire company will literally no longer be able to sell their product onto market in Europe. You can't fall back because they won't be recognised. Equally, I'm talking to companies who are in a very competitive market, who face any kind of, with quite low margins, and if they face tariffs of 10%, 11%, that means they're no longer competitive. So all this talk of WTO is actually not dealing with the practical details that many companies face. It's too simplistic. And we are now 4 months to go until a lot of companies are going to face severe difficulties. And this isn't big business. Now we're talking about family firms, we're talking about firms who have remortgaged the house. And 2 days ago, they seemed to have some degree of certainty that there would be another 2 years to adapt, get ready, have a better deal. Now we have MPs who are saying they're going to vote the deal down or going to challenge the Prime Minister to a leadership contest with 4 months to go. And that it's really causing worry and exasperation among many companies.
So presumably you think that the MP should just get behind this deal now, do you, and support the Prime Minister?
If they have a plausible alternative plan, which can be agreed by the Europeans within 4 months, then it would be good to hear about it. But in light of that and in light of lack of alternatives, I think businesses need to think the Prime Minister has come forward with a deal. Let's look at it in detail. Let's see what the trade-offs are. But we need to have something in place by the end of March.
Okay, Matt Griffiths, thank you for your time this morning. Director of Policy at Business West. Interesting there, just to hear, some people in the business community really, really worried about the prospect of a no-deal Brexit. And many sort of MPs are worried about it as well, which is why they're saying get behind Theresa May's plans. But as we were hearing yesterday, some others saying that actually it's a bit of a rubbish plan and she needs to go. We will continue to follow this story this morning, give you all the latest Brexit wranglings as the morning goes on.
James Thomas,
BBC Wiltshire.